Hey, in this video I want to talk about something that's quite serious, but it's going to be a real must watch because it's going to help save you potentially from your studio going bust. Now, there's a lot of studios, large, small, doesn't matter the size, but they can be growing, but they can actually go bankrupt, they can go bust. And so I want to show you one of the models on how that happens so you can be aware of it and you can make sure that it doesn't happen to you. So all that right after this. Okay, so the chart that I'm going to put on the screen with this cycle that we need to watch out for, this comes from a book, Beyond Entrepreneurship 2.0 by Jim Collins. He's an incredible business author, one of my top 3 favorites, and you should definitely check out basically anything he's written if you're into reading business books. So let me walk you through this chart. I was going through it with our BAM squad, it's our Build a Music School community. Quick shout out, grab a free trial down below. If you haven't done so already and you're running a studio, then you are nuts to have not grabbed a free trial and just tried it out first. Anyway, let's get into what this is all about. And I'm going to walk you through it. So if you want to go deeper, you can read that book, Beyond Entrepreneurship 2.0, but I'm just going to walk you through this chart. So here's what often happens. People have a rapid growth year. Might be, hey, you've gone from 30 to 50 students or 50 to 100 students. Gets your confidence up, and then they often have another rapid year. Confidence up even more. And so you start to build an infrastructure, you start hiring people and building inventory in expectation that, hey, this is the new normal. We're just going to keep growing rapidly like this. And now, because you've built all this infrastructure, you've hired more people, you've bought more equipment, you might have changed buildings, studios, etc. Well, now you have to continue because you've got all these new costs that have increased. And then you continue to plan for that growth. So you say, hey, we made $100,000 last year. Last year, before that, we only made, $75,000. So we went up $25,000 in 1 year. I think we'll do even better this year. So let's budget and say we're going to make $130,000. The scale obviously changes depending on the size of your music studio. And so you start to continue to plan for that growth, even if it's not realistic. And then the company is forced into a rapid growth spiral. You're like, crud, we need to grow like mad to keep all of this going. And then the next point here, the company infrastructure is strained. People are burnt out. Your services decline. The lesson quality drops. Your customer service drops. The quality of everything has problems. He's got inventory, gets out of control. It's probably not a main issue for you guys. People are giving unrealistic deadlines. You're creating new products. The example here would be you're like trying to fix the main thing by diversifying into lots of different areas in your music school before you fix the main thing and getting the main thing really cranking and working. You want to make sure you do that before you add all those extra layers. And so then after that, eventually you have an unexpected slow growth year, or you can even go backwards a little bit, or it just stalls. But if you've planned to earn an extra 20 grand or 50 grand, but you just stay the same as last year, where's that missing chunk going to come from? It's going to come from your pocket. And so this is what happens. Eventually you have that unexpected growth year, big cash flow crunch happens, often resulting in severe or painful setbacks, or even bankruptcy and going out of business. Now, I was walking our BAM squad through this recently, and I wanted to share some of the things that I shared with them. 2 things before I get into some advice is to check yourself and say, hey, am I kind of like a risk tolerant person, or am I like anti-risk? Am I risk adverse? And there's risks with both personality types, right? The risk takers, like myself, we can let our emotions, our egos, our excitement spend money before it's earned. The risk adverse, they can be hindered by fear or excuses or self-doubt, and so they can often end up living, the same year to year, not really experiencing any growth in their business. So we have to make sure we know what kind of person we are and know how we can move forward in a way that's healthy, because growth is a good thing. We just need to grow smart. So here's a few of the tips that I gave BAM Squad thinking about this, having gone through this myself, right? I've in early years, I didn't know what I was doing. Like I probably, you go from 0 to 2,000 students and all the other crazy projects. you kind of think that you know everything at 100, and then you realize you know nothing. You get to 500, you're like, my goodness, I was an idiot. You get to 500 and you think, oh, I've got this, I've got this down now. And then you get to 1,000, you're like, my goodness, I knew nothing when I had 500 students. On and on it goes. You get to 2,000, and even right now, having passed the 2,000 and all the other crazy stuff, I still think, wow, I've learnt so much since then. I'm so much smarter than when I was with 2,000. That's just the way it works. So these are some of the best lessons that I've walked out BAM Squad through, and I'll share some of them with you. If you want to see the whole kind of post all broken down, just grab a free trial. Go look in our Build a Music School community. The post, you can just search my name and search Jim Collins. That will come up with this post, because as I mentioned, he's the author of the book where I took this from. So here's a few things that you need to do. You need to make sure that you do save an emergency fund. Like, aim for 2 months. Obviously, Dave Ramsey, the big financial guru guy with the radio show in America, he'd tell you 3 to 6 months. That's awesome if you can have that discipline. You should definitely have that personally, but in your business, that can be just such a massive hit. You don't really need it that scale if you're not doing any big ambitious growth things. So at least 2 months emergency fund. That gives you that padding, that protection. And so that's a real simple thing that you can work towards, chip away at as soon as you can if you don't have an emergency fund. Next thing is, like, run every big financial decision around growth past your mentors in your life, past your mastermind. If you're not in one, then those are all free and part of the Build a Music School program. So get in a mastermind. Same with the BAM Squad. If you need to book one-on-one time with me, do so. Find someone that can look at your numbers before you take the plunge and really assess, have you done the maths right? Have people picked holes at this from different angles? Are you sure you want to go down this route? Another would be to take to fire bullets before cannonballs. Is there ways to test the big idea that you're trying to do, the big growth thing, without launching everything at it? Because you can do little tests, go, oh, this is going to work, awesome, so now we fire a cannonball. Never bet the farm. So never, you want to take risks, you want to grow, but they always need to be calculated risks. So always take calculated risks. Never bet the farm. That means never go, hey, this thing is either going to make us or break us. It's just not smart. Yes, people have done that in history and succeeded. Great for them. They're the minority. The maths on that is not in your favor to do that. If you want to risk it, that's not my advice. I don't suggest you bet the farm. Another thing is, you never want to miss a monthly financial meeting with yourself. So you want to be on the first or the second of the month. You've reconciled everything from the previous month, and you're looking at your numbers. You're asking yourself all the tough questions. Hopefully you've got an amazing cash flow tool which is showing you how your cash flow is trending, all the expenses in a visual format. It should be calculating all the things like what it costs you to acquire a customer, what your lifetime value of a customer is. There's 10 or 12 other numbers, and I've done vlogs on this, but there is a tool. If you go to module 2 in the BAM Squad library, again, grab a free trial, we've got an incredible cash flow tool that you use for your business, and it spits out everything automatically after you just punch your numbers in each month. So you want to make sure you never miss a monthly meeting. Otherwise, I said, hey, you're kind of like flying with misty goggles, and it's just not smart. It's not it's not a good thing to do if you don't really know where you're at. You need to be making tweaks every month. Final point I'll give you, there's many more on the list you can go through, but recognize the cycle. If you're in that cycle we've gone through, you need to recognize and that you're in it and deal with it right away. Don't just go, it'll course correct. If I get another 50 students, it'll come right. You have to be really honest with yourself and make the right changes that are actually going to move the needle, spin the thing around, and turn you away from the danger. I'll give you one more just because this one's a good one as well. And this is what I see all the time is you have to fix the main thing. So the main thing is you provide music lessons and mentoring for who knows, young people, kids, adults. That's the main thing. That thing can work really well if you only ever did that, and you did that really well and got all the model right, the people, the processes, the promotion, all that stuff, you got that right, you can be absolutely killing it. Now what happens is often people are like, oh, this is really hard, I can't, it's not working for me like it works for you. And instead of like solving those problems, getting support, they're like, oh, I'll add this to my business. So I'll add an online course, and oh, I'm going to make money, and that's going to help prop this up. Or hey, I'm going to add dance programs to my school. Now we're music and dance. Now we're performing arts. You're going to take all these other diversified things to try and solve the main thing. That's not the way you want to go about it. Get the main thing humming, working well, fix it, because then it scales and it works well, and then you have all the extra money to launch the diversified things that you want to do, and you do them really well. So I'm a massive fan of diversification. We have a whole training on it, and we collect all the diversified things that I did with my school. I give you all the tools and everything that I've learned to do those crazy things which add hundreds of thousands of dollars to our school. And then we collect all the other things that BAM Squad members are doing, things that I haven't done that they're doing, and we add that in. So you've now got this smorgasbord of all these cool things that you can add to your school. But you shouldn't do it, as the reason we have it as the last module, you shouldn't do it until you fix the main thing. So there's another lesson. So let me wrap this up, but go through and find that screenshot of that cycle again. Ask yourself, hey, are you in that cycle? Have you ever approached it and not learned the lessons from it? Do you need to make some pivots to fix it so it doesn't happen again? Because the same thing can happen not just with cash, but also just with your own energy and getting burnt out. And so if you're feeling some of those symptoms, then you might want to take this seriously. Check out, finally, BAM Squad. Grab a 7-day trial. Let's chat inside the group, and let's help you kick some absolute butt and get ahead of the stuff so that you never have to worry about it again. Hope you enjoyed this video. Leave any comments. I read them all and respond wherever I can. And feel free to ask questions that you might want included in the next video. Until then, take care and be well.